very good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of Primetime News here on TV1. My name is David Paldano.
And I'm Amavi Banagoda. Let's start off by taking a look at your headlines this evening.
Former director of the CID, SSP Shani Abesekara, interdicted. What impact will Sri Lanka have from the ongoing Iran-US tensions? Attorney General informs Speaker that the forensic audit report on the bond scam should not be released to the MPs. How did Ranjan's telephone conversations leak? Opposition demands investigation. What is the reason behind the Passara accident that claimed 8 lives?
Main sponsor.
For more information, call on 0117 743 743.
Now we have reported over a US drone strike that killed Iranian leader Qasem Soleimani, which in fact raised tensions in the Middle East. We're now crossing over to Azra Hassan in our newsroom for a comprehensive look onto the matter.
If the growing tensions between America and Iran escalate into a real conflict, will Sri Lanka be a part of the conflict? We have a revelation for you tonight, and the main focus on this is because the United States Air Force deployed 6 B-52 bombers to Diego Garcia, an island based in the Indian Ocean.
The B-52 bombers reportedly were spotted departing from Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana to Diego Garcia, which is located 2,300 miles south of Iran's southernmost tip. Each aircraft has 8 engines and is designed to carry a large cache of weapons, including cruise missiles, conventional and laser-guided bombs, and nuclear gravity bombs.
I have Chaturanga Hapwarach with me at the newsroom here. Chaturanga, how will Sri Lanka be a part of this whole growing tensions in the region?
Yes, Asana, you spoke about Diego Garcia and 6 B-52 bombers being sent to Diego Garcia, which is used as a military base by the United States of America. Now the story has to start from 2016. When Diego Garcia was being decolonized by the United Kingdom, a long-term lease was given to the United States of America for Diego Garcia to be used as a US military base. And that is where this story starts. We have to keep in mind that Diego Garcia, as you spoke about it, is located in the Indian Ocean region. We have to also keep in mind that it's surrounded by Seychelles on one side, Mauritius Islands on one side, and as well as Maldives. And the closest stable landmass or a big landmass that can be seen is, of course, Sri Lanka in the Indian Ocean. Now, keeping this whole story in mind, let's focus our attention to what's been happening around Diego Garcia. Now, when this was taken with regard to a UN resolution regarding Diego Garcia, of course, the UN said that the decolonizing did not happen properly and that Mauritius had moved, that Diego Garcia should be given to its original people. Irrelevant of what was said, the USA still uses Diego Garcia as a military base, and you know, 6 B-52 bombers were sent today with regards to the increasing tension in the Middle East. Now, keeping all of this in mind, let's focus our attention to the United States of America.
It is going to be a dangerous situation, especially because Sri Lanka has signed the AXA. America can easily request the government to grant them access to bring in their aircraft to the Sri Lankan waters. The John C. Stennis ship is already anchored off Trincomalee, since Sri Lanka is located only 2,400 miles away. If Sri Lankan waters and airspace are used by America to attack a third party, Sri Lanka can easily get caught in a missile attack.
Now, what information or what facts and figures did President Donald Trump use when carrying out the initial attack on Qasem Soleimani, the Kurd military leader of Iran? Obviously, details gathered by on-field and off-field agents of the Central Intelligence Agency or the CIA. Now, President Trump seems to be adhering to contradicting views with regard to the CIA, especially we also have to remember that he is impeached right now, and the impeachment was regard to a phone conversation he had with the Ukrainian president. That information too was investigated by the Central Intelligence Agency, and they also have the access. They might use Sri Lanka as a cross-acquisition sort of agreement. They might use Sri Lanka in this background. We also have to keep in mind that in the past, when things like this have happened, they all apologized that the information was not accurate when they attacked Iraq.
For that decision today, I accept full responsibility, without exception and without excuse. I recognise the division felt by many in our country over the war, and in particular, I feel deeply and sincerely, in a way that no words can properly convey, the grief and suffering of those who lost ones they loved in Iraq. For all of this, I express more sorrow, regret, and apology than you may ever know or can believe.
Will similar things happen also in the region, also in the world? And by the time they attack, and if they attack, and if they have to apologize at the end of all of this, Sri Lanka will already have been used as a military station. And we would be embroiled or entangled in an unnecessary war happening between two other countries.
Why aren't we getting together and tearing the MCC compact so that we can save a massive bloodshed in the country? Isn't the 4th of February the ideal day to do that? We are ready to support that task.
Honourable Opposition Leader, we would like to responsibly tell you that this government will not sign the MCC compact. We will once again review the Singapore agreement.
සමාලෝචනය කරනවා මේ සිංගප්පූ කිවිසුම සම්බන්ධ ඔබතුමාලා විරුද්ධ වුණ හින්දායි සමාලෝචනය කරන්නේ ඒක අවශ්‍ය කරන්නේ නැහැ. අවශ්‍ය කරන්නේ මොකද්ද? අවශ්‍ය කරන්නේ මොකක්ද? මේක තමයි සමාලෝචනය කරන්නේ ඉන්න. නෑ. විමල් වීරවංශ മന്ത്രിවරයා
I saw Vimal Veeravansa speaking at a public rally by showing a map and citing how dangerous that is. He said that this is the American corridor and this move will gain 1.2 million of the country's land. But the United States can expand this, citing the ethnic crisis. A dangerous agreement like this will never be signed by a government. This agreement will be a betrayal to our country, and we only have to write a letter saying thanks for the offer. And there is no need for committees. These
were designated as terrorists. That blacklisting came after the US designated Iran's Revolutionary Guards a terrorist organization. Meanwhile, Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif said the US has declined to issue him a visa to attend the United Nations meetings in New York. The US, as the host of the United Nations headquarters, is supposed to allow foreign officials to attend such meetings. Meanwhile, the United States Defense Secretary has contradicted President Donald Trump by saying the country's military had no plans to bomb Iranian cultural sites amid threats of retaliation from Tehran. In comments that sparked an international outcry, President Trump first raised the prospect of attacking cultural sites in a tweet and reiterated that view to reporters the next day. The United States has also issued a warning to ships about possible attacks in waterways.
Now taking a look at an update from the United Nations over the tension in the Middle East, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres expressed deep concern over rising global discord and called for maximum restraint amid escalating tensions between Washington and Tehran after the United States killed an Iranian military commander. The Secretary said, quote, "We are living in dangerous times. Geopolitical tensions are at the highest level this century and this turbulence is escalating," end quote. He has added, quote, "And my message is simple and clear. Stop escalating, exercise maximum restraints, restart dialogue, renew international cooperation," end quote.
Main sponsor.
For more information, call on 0117 743 743.
Now taking a look at some news here at home, cost of living was a major topic that was discussed in Parliament today. The topic was taken up in debate following the manifesto presented by the President during the election campaign.
When comparing the cost of goods during the latter part of last year with the prices on the 6th of January this year, we can all imagine how that graph would look like. A kilogram of beans has gone up by 140 rupees. It was 160 rupees and now it is 300 rupees. Carrot increased from 260 rupees to 430 rupees. Tomato has increased from 100 rupees to 190 rupees by 90 rupees. Eggplant is increased from 130 rupees to 190 rupees from 60 rupees. Is there any happiness that has been created in a time frame of 1.5 months? Are the people at ease? Are the people happy? When you raise this question from the people, they will answer them well.
You charged income tax from a person who earned 100,000 rupees. We increased the value to 250,000 rupees. We have brought down the maximum percentage of income tax from 24% to 18%. The information communication sector is exempted from tax. The payee has been removed from the 1st of January. We have commenced the tasks that the government should be doing when carrying out a proper governance. We will not in any way bring back the fuel price formula that you introduced. There was a serious issue there. When the fuel prices in the world market reduced, you did not transfer that benefit to the people of this country. When the fuel prices in the world market increased, you increased the prices over that price and burdened the people. That formula will not be enacted under Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Mahinda Rajapaksa.
The special SLFP meeting that was scheduled to be held today was postponed. Now, this was due to the conflict which occurred when the former president Chantarika Bandaranaike arrived at the meeting.
The meeting was due to begin today at 9 a.m. with the presence of former President Maithripala Sirisena. Just as the meeting was scheduled to begin, former President Chantarika Bandaranaike arrived.
Currently, I'm standing right opposite the Sri Lanka Freedom Party headquarters, where a special meeting, an inaugural meeting for the year 2020 for the electoral and the district organizers of the party was supposed to be held at 9:30 this morning. However, former President Chantarika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga had attended this meeting unannounced this morning, where she was met with strong opposition by a certain individual, a certain organizer who attended this meeting. Thereafter, steps were taken by the rest of the organizers to vacate that particular individual from the premises. Now, at the meeting, Chantarika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga was very warmly welcomed. It is reported that she was very warmly welcomed to the meeting, where the organizers and the MPs urged the former president to safeguard the party, to save the party, and to stand for the party owing to the present crisis situation that the party is undergoing.
A few minutes after she arrived, Minister Dayasiri Jayasekara and Mahinda Amaraveera left the location. Just as the party seniors left the premises, former President Chantarika Bandaranaike also left the location. The SLFP worked for Gotabaya Rajapaksa with the full agreement of the Central Committee, but the whole world knows that Chantarika Kumaratunga, along with the team, created a business to save the party, but in reality they worked against it. So now I don't think she has the right to be involved in party matters. We didn't even invite her for this, and nobody was ready to welcome her either. There is no intrusion. We are leaving only because the relevant authorities did not attend the meeting. We got the message that President won't be attending the meeting, hence we won't be conducting the meeting today. He did not mention about any issue, but sometimes there could be an issue. Meanwhile, party organizers made a visit to the former President Maithripala Sirisena's residence in Colombo. Today, the SLFP meeting, which was scheduled to be held, was cancelled, so we came here to our party leader's house to talk to him.
In one of your headline-making stories this evening, Sri Lanka Police and the Department of Motor Traffic launched a joint investigation into the motor accident in Passara Badula, where a Sri Lanka transport bus plunged into a deep precipice. Our correspondent stated that the remains of 8 individuals who perished in the incident have been placed in the Passara District Hospital. 41 individuals sustained injuries in this accident.
What you see behind me is where yesterday's tragic accident happened. A bus belonging to the CTB went off-road down a slope and crashed right at the bottom. According to our sources, nearly 50 passengers were on board, and according to the Passara General Hospital, 8 people so far have been reported to be dead.
The accident had occurred at about 5 p.m. yesterday. NA2662 CTB bus had begun its journey towards Akiria at about 4:30 yesterday when it veered off the road and plunged into a precipice at the 6th mile post in Madolsima. Eyewitnesses said that the accident had occurred when this bus and a lorry plying from the opposite direction were interchanging on this narrow road. The debris of the bus that split were found in a 150-meter deep precipice. The bus moved to one side to allow the lorry to pass through. That is when it slipped and fell into the precipice. After 6 meters, it started rolling downhill. It hit a tree and the roof of the bus flew off, and people in the bus were thrown out. 2 school children were thrown out of the bus. Both of them died on impact. There were about 8 or 9 bodies. The bodies were still warm, but there was no response. News First met a woman who disembarked the bus few moments before it met with this fatal accident.
I take the bus and usually get off the 6th mile post. When I was coming down the road, I saw the bus toppling. The bus was almost full. There were about 10 people standing.
Meanwhile, the driver of the bus, who is currently receiving treatment at the Badulla General Hospital, speaking to News First, explained how the accident happened. The bus made a stop at the 6th mile post and some people got off the bus, and when we went ahead for about 100 to 150 meters, a vehicle came in the opposite direction. I gave way for the vehicle to pass by, and that's when I lost control of the bus. News First has received documents to prove that the bus had been repaired the day before the accident. In this document, it has been pointed out that the second defect of the vehicle is the lack of control in the front wheel. The document shows that the first defect of the bus is that the center bolt of the right tire in the back is broken. Because of that, there is less control over the bus. The second defect is a lack of control in the front. The repair team should inspect the bus before putting it onto the road again. A similar incident occurred on the 16th of April 2015 when a bus veered off the same road near the 2nd mile post, injuring 37 individuals. Meanwhile, a tense situation occurred when UNP MP Vadivel Suresh arrived at the Passara District Hospital.
Now keeping up with more top stories this evening, the former director of the Criminal Investigations Department, SSP Shani Abesekara, was interdicted with immediate effect today.
Police spokesperson SP Jalya Senaratne said the measure was taken on charges of engaging in telephone conversations bringing a disrepute to the police service. Before he was interdicted, SSP Shania Besekara was appointed as the personal assistant of the Galle DIG. Before he was interdicted, SSP Shania Besekara was appointed as the personal assistant of the Galle DIG. The police spokesperson said he was transferred to police headquarters and thereafter interdicted. When contacted, the secretary to the National Police Commission, Nishanta Veerasinghe, said the acting IGP ordered for a disciplinary inquiry to be conducted against SSP Shania Besekara.
UNP parliamentarian Hirunika Premachandra convened a media briefing today.
Then Duminda Silva කියන පුද්ගලයාව මරණ දඬුවම ලබා දෙන දින ගරු විනිසුරුතුමන්ලා.
At the inception, let me remind that the judges have not given the death sentence to Duminda Silva in vain. They have given it for a reason. Duminda Silva and some others have killed 4 people in broad daylight. Bharata Lakshman Premachandra didn't die consuming poison. There is no reason to let Duminda Silva be released. It has been clearly stated that in the evidence that the MSD officers of Duminda Silva were drunk and they were told to take T-56 guns. All these facts were stated by his MSD officers. Due to this reason, it is not something that happened then and there. This was a planned murder. Few days ago, some people accused that one judge from the High Courts acquitted had released and that 2 other judges were unfair on Duminda Silva and gave him the death sentence. Okay, let's leave all of that aside. When they went and appealed to the Supreme Court, 5 judges in the Supreme Court, I'll read out the names. It is clear who the judges were in the Supreme Court. Priyasad Depp, second person, Bhuwanekalu Vihare. Next was Priyantha Jayawardena, H.N.J. Pereira, Vijit Kumara Malagoda. These 5 judges were the ones who confirmed the court decision over and over again given by the High Court. So Duminda Silva and the others who were imprisoned were not just put to prison, they were put there for a reason. Don't make false opinions. The people in this country are not stupid.
නිකන් හිරේට දාලා නෙවෙයි. බොරු මත හදන්න එපා මේ රටේ මිනිස්සු මෝඩයෝ නෙවෙයි.
Speaker of Parliament Karuja Surya told Parliament today that the Attorney General has informed him that it is not appropriate for the MPs to submit the forensic audit report on the Bond case. However, the opposition, along with members of the JVP, spoke in contradiction.
I wish to inform this House that the Attorney General has informed me in writing that the above reports are not suitable for all members at this time, as the legal proceedings on the bond issue by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka have already commenced and may continue in force in the future. However, Honourable Speaker, the previous Attorney General had approved the COPE report at the Parliament to be presented as a forensic audit report. Honourable Member, the letter states that it is possible only after the establishment of COPE to suspend the secrecy. The committee, including the COPE in Parliament, has been inactive, and you are requested to re-establish the committees as soon as possible. By that time, the secrecy can be maintained so that all members of all parties in Parliament can investigate the matter. I respectfully request you to not give any space to the group that had telephone conversations with the accused during the COPE sessions. But this Parliament is not bound to honour the Attorney General's advice in its full form. Even some of the recommendations of the Supreme Court have been accepted, in part considering the supremacy of the people as a Parliament. The Attorney General's department did not file a lawsuit. They did this after a long time and after the COPE. Now he cannot say that we can't give out this information, so this is clearly a hoax. Don't cover the Parliament to the Attorney General's department. This report was created after spending about 900 million rupees. Therefore, we request you to issue an order immediately. You are not subject to the Attorney General's orders. Just like you, I too understand the importance of this. After a long discussion today, he requested for several days, after which we will revisit this as soon as possible, because I too want to get this done.
Former MP Sarna Gunawardena, who was sentenced to a 3-year prison term, was released on a surety bail of 300,000 rupees.
This morning, the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court sentenced Sarna Gunawardena to 3 years in prison and imposed a fine of 300,000 rupees. As documentation was produced to the Colombo Magistrates Court claiming an appeal was filed with the High Court against the punishment imposed on Sarna Gunawardena, Colombo Chief Magistrate Lanka Jayaratna ordered for the ex-MP to be released on bail. He was earlier sentenced to serve a prison term after he was found guilty of causing losses to the state by engaging in unlawful transactions. The case was filed against Sarna Gunawardena by the Bribery Commission, alleging that the government had incurred losses when he leased 3 vehicles at a cost of Rs 960,000 while he was the chairman of the Development Lotteries Board from the 5th of May 2007 to the 30th of April 2008.
At least 755 people in Sri Lanka died due to drowning, and children aged 1 to 14 face this fatal accident the most. A report by Sri Lanka Life Saving in collaboration with Life Saving Victoria, Australia and the Australian High Commission classifies drowning as a silent killer in Sri Lanka.
According to the Sri Lanka Drowning Report 2020, there was a 20% reduction in the drowning rate in Sri Lanka in comparison to the 2005-2007 average. Data also indicates that drowning is the leading cause of death in children aged 1 to 14 in the country. The Sri Lanka Drowning Report 2020 also states that canals are a top drowning location, with 22% of drowning deaths in the period of 2016 to 2018 occurring in a canal. During this period, 21% of drowning deaths occurred in the sea, 18% in wells and 9% in rivers.
People aged between the ages of 25 to 40 are most vulnerable to drown. In addition, around 850 people are reported to have drowned annually. In the world rankings on drowning, Sri Lanka is ranked 12th. However, according to this latest report, drowning-related deaths have reduced. Drowning among the children has increased. This is proven to be a challenge for Sri Lanka Life Saving, and this results in at least 3 drowning-related deaths to occur daily in Sri Lanka. The use of alcohol during water-related activities, negligence, as well as not being aware of the dangers when bathing, many meet an untimely death as a result of drowning.
In 2018 and 2019, life-saving activity in the country includes 2,364 active lifeguards and 235 life-saving patrol points. While the Sri Lanka Navy has 554 active lifeguards, the Sri Lanka Army has 483 and the Police Life-Saving Club has 328.
So this report highlights how we can address drowning, but as well as how we can make better use of the natural waterways in Sri Lanka. We look forward to supporting from Australia to develop life-saving in Sri Lanka for preventing drownings as well as for increasing the economic and social benefits from water in Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka Life Saving will release 2 publications on beach safety and pool safety guidelines as well as one on the Swim for Safety program, and it will be available in all 3 languages.
The total number of international tourist arrivals to Sri Lanka during December 2019 was 241,663. According to the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, in comparison to December 2018, there was a decline of 4.5%. As at 31st December 2019, 1,913,702 tourists had visited Sri Lanka for this year. It is a decline of 18% over last year, when 2,333,796 tourists had visited the country during the same period.
Health authorities have said to take precautions against an influenza-like disease that has affected many in Sri Lanka.
When Newsfirst inquired, health authorities noted that the influenza-like disease will occur with a cough or cold. Speaking to Newsfirst, Chief Epidemiologist at the Epidemiology Unit said that most of these conditions subside, but there are some instances where this could lead to pneumonia. According to Dr. Ginige, individuals who fall in the high-risk categories, such as the elderly, people diagnosed with chronic diseases, expecting mothers, have an increased chance of developing complications. Dr. Ginige warned that even healthy people can fall prey to these complications and suggested that they seek medical care.
With the recently concluded monsoon season that has battered many parts across the island, one could suspect the spread of usual diseases. But health authorities state that there's no reason for the public to fear or panic during this period of time with the spread of diseases. But if you are someone who is suffering with a cold or cough, it is recommended that you receive medical advice without delay. For as they say, prevention is better than cure. I am Shani Hettiarachi, reporting for Newsfirst.
Meanwhile, in related news from overseas, Chinese health authorities have not been able to identify a mysterious strain of pneumonia that has infected dozens of people and put the rest of Asia on alert.
A total of 59 cases of unknown viral pneumonia have been reported in the city of Wuhan, central China, with 7 patients in critical condition. All patients are being treated in quarantine and no deaths have been reported. Amid growing disquiet, Wuhan authorities said they had concluded the possibility of severe acute respiratory syndrome, Middle East respiratory syndrome and bird flu. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka is raped and assaulted on a moving bus. Lawyers for the men who are due to be hanged on the 22nd of January plan to launch last-ditch legal challenges. The men cannot be executed until the Supreme Court rejects their final challenge, and the Indian president also rejects their mercy petitions. They're yet to file either. At today's hearing, the public prosecutor urged the court to go ahead and issue a death warrant, arguing that not filing the appeals was a delaying tactic.
Now taking a look at some sports news, Matilda Carlson, a 35-year-old athlete representing Sri Lanka, has made a historic qualification for this year's Olympic Games in Tokyo.
Born at Sri Lanka in 1984, Matilda was adopted to Sweden when she was only 3 months old. She grew up in Kristianstad in the south of Sweden and started her equestrian career at a local club. There, Matilda developed her love and passion for horses and show jumping. While it will be the first Olympic Games and major championship